Cześć czołem, pytacie skąd się wziąłem. Witam was serdecznie w nowym roku. I końcówka naszego... Cześć czołem, pytacie skąd się wziąłem. Witam was serdecznie w nowym roku. Tak jak widzicie, mam również drugiego Sebastiana za moimi plecami. Moi drodzy, witam was serdecznie na ważnym, otwierającym również ten rok wywiadzie, który będzie poświęcony dosyć ciekawemu przypadkowi, jednemu z najbardziej innowacyjnych miast, które udało mi się znaleźć. Miasto Peachtree Corners w Stanach Zjednoczonych, które nie tylko, że jest miastem wyjątkowym, ale również za tą wyjątkowością idzie nie tylko czysta komunikacja, ale praktyczne, realne projekty, które mają szansę się ku pożytkowi dla mieszkańców sprawdzić. Dzisiejszym moim gościem jest osoba wyjątkowa, osoba, która nie tylko, że w ramach miasta odpowiada za komunikację, ale również jest częścią bardzo ważnego, jednego z takich sukcesem wdrożonych City Labów, czyli Curiosity Lab, ale co ja będę tutaj po polsku się produkował, przechodzimy na język angielski. Hello, Luis. Hello, hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, yes, because I think that in your country, in your city, is currently 10 o'clock a.m.
It is 10 o'clock in the morning. I've had my coffee and I'm ready to go.
I have my coffee with me as well. Luis, first of all, thank you very much for accepting the invitation for our interview. Normally, the first point of my chat is the introduction, and I think that you will introduce yourself better than I will do. So the floor is yours, Luis. Tell us a little bit about yourself, as well about your city, because that is our main topic of our chat today.
All right. Well, thank you, Sebastian. I appreciate you having me. I look forward to the discussion today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am currently the Director of Communications for the City of Peachtree Corners. We are a city that is located in the metro Atlanta area in Georgia. We are a fairly new city as far as incorporation. We've been incorporated for about 12 years, but we have a big history of technology here, being that the area that we are within is Atlanta's first technology park that was founded in the late 60s. So technology is kind of the fiber of who we are as a city. Because of that, we created a nonprofit incubator, high-tech incubator, and a lab testing facility called Curiosity Lab, which is owned and run by the city as a nonprofit. And we continue to make sure that we use technology. We help expand technology, not just here for the city, but hopefully the things we're doing here will affect our country and other countries worldwide.
What I noticed, Luis, that your city, in fact, has something like 40,000 of residents, something like that, yes? That you are rather middle-sized city?
Yeah, correct. We are a city of about 42,000. The county that we're in is actually the largest county in the state of Georgia. It's got about 1 million people in the county. But yeah, big part of metro Atlanta. We're about 25 miles from downtown Atlanta, and I would consider ourselves a large suburb compared to here where we are outside of the city. 40,000 is a fairly large for city limits, but for a city, yes, we are definitely a smaller city.
Because, you know, in general, when I just compare the situation as well, the fastest of making a decision in this kind of city is probably much more easier than you are comparing to the big cities like New York, like, I don't know, Los Angeles. I think that as well, the level of management is, you know, is quite high, like pyramid. It means that if the city is like the middle size, it's much more easiest to make decisions.
Yeah, what I would say is, we can move things a little faster through the process. We don't have as many layers to go through. Being smaller and having, a less amount of employees and higher leadership, it certainly makes it easier. But it also, you have to have the right leadership, and politically you have to have the right leaders in place as well. When you have that, you can move things a little more quickly, but definitely we have a good group of decision makers, and being small allows us to be nimble.
Okay, let's go to this. I call it smartness, because when I try to understand what you are doing in the city, I was completely impressed. Because on the one hand, you are very organized, but on the other, you already implemented a lot of nice ideas. When I looked for some other cases, because I try to just compare it, your city with others, you are extremely on the, not extremely, but I'm more than sure that you are on the first place around the innovativeness as well as the approach. I as well understood that you are the first city in US which already implemented. I did a lot with 5G, private 5G. In Poland, there is still quiet brand topic. On the other hand, those autonomous vehicles. And the last topic, however, I would like to explore it much more, this local currency. But let's go to those 5G and those autonomous vehicles and other topics. How you did it? Where is this gold received?
Yeah, 5G is really the key, as you said. Being able to do things wirelessly. When we began with the idea for Curiosity Lab, in order to grow that type of facility and to be able to do what we wanted to do, we had to have two main partners. One was obviously fiber infrastructure. We had to have that in place. And we needed that to be able to have a 5G backbone to be able to do what we're doing here in the city. So what we did early on was we partnered with a fiber operator who partnered with us to put fiber throughout. And then it is now T-Mobile that is really our main and cornerstone partner, as you know, part of Deutsche Telekom. And they have allowed us and been not really allowed us, they partnered with us, and they are embedded within the lab. So this is a testing facility for them as well. So what they've done is they've given us every level of 5G you could possibly have. So we have every band of 5G. We have everything from large tower to small cell. And we run everything here in this city environment, in this testing lab, specifically over 5G. And I will say the reason that was important was infrastructure is expensive. So as technology grows and you continue to have to expand, you don't want to be digging up the ground all the time. You can't constantly be putting in new pipe, new wires, all of that kind of stuff. So being able to do everything wirelessly made sense for us. And we know that that's going to be the future of how everything is done in order to make it affordable for not only us, but for every city and every country around the world.
Luis, can you just explain or just share with us what kind of 5G services you already implemented or tested in the real environment?
Absolutely. Well, obviously, we have our regular phones that we use. The other things that we do is you mentioned the autonomous vehicles. That's one of the bigger things that we have tested here. We have a 3 mile, which I'm not sure exactly where that goes to kilometers, but we have a 3 mile autonomous vehicle test track. The different thing about this test track is it's not being run through magnets or things like that. It's a combination of things. Some of those are cameras, some of it is LiDAR, but the majority of it is 5G. So these vehicles are able to run on this track using that 5G signal. When we have had, we were the first place in the world to have autonomous vehicles from 2 different manufacturers running on the same track at the same time via 5G wireless. So that's a huge part of it. So certainly it started with that, with us in Curiosity Lab. It is now expanded to even more than that. It's full smart city. So our traffic signals, our water pipes, our street lights, everything talks to each other over a 5G network. So we have cameras on almost all of our street lights. And they are able to talk to each other over 5G digitally about what they're seeing at other locations in the city. So looking at how we manage traffic, looking at how we increase pedestrian safety, looking at how cyclists may traverse our streets. All of that is being tested and done here over a 5G connection.
That is amazing, because you delivered, in fact, it's more or less my dream, how to make those things connected at the same time. You did a lot, especially with 5G, because 5G, in fact, allows to provide those wireless technologies at the same time. It's amazing. Luis, another question, because you as well started to, I think it's not the experiment, it's not proof of concept, because you already implemented this, let's call it local currency based on the blockchain. Can you just share with us a little bit more about it? Because I think that because we discussed already, because we're going to do it more or less the same project, the first one in Poland, maybe in Europe, and we will exactly follow your experience and your more or less success, I believe.
Yeah, I may need a little more specifics on what you're wanting me to talk about here. But yeah, we have, everything is rolled out here. So we continue to do testing, but we are fully implemented. There's really not a whole lot we can't do using 5G. And having T-Mobile here, they continue to test. So I'm not sure specifically what the question is.
I speak about it because you already implemented. You as well one of the first city in US. There is a case we discussed from Michael and Colo. The application which is connected with the blockchain. It means you are using your local, let's call it coins, local, benefits points just to share and exchange it for some goods. That is exactly the topic I ask about.
Yeah, one of the things that we have here is a local shopping app. So we believe
local,
yeah. We believe very deeply here in supporting our local businesses, especially local small business. So the way that we were able to do that was to implement an app by which people, when they spend money at local businesses, they earn what is essentially coins. We call them PTC points. They were equivalent to 1 point equals $1 American. So we partnered with other local businesses, small businesses, mostly family-owned businesses, to be able to accept those points. So you could earn points at about 280 businesses, but you could only spend them at 30 businesses that we partnered with. So someone would be able to earn these points and maybe go to a small business and use their points to get their haircut or to buy dinner. Or to donate even to a nonprofit. We have some nonprofits that are registered. So community support, building business, and doing everything on the back end with money that's not actually money. And certainly, the environment helps us do that as well.
Because we try to copy your approach in Poland, in Minsk Mazowiecki. Our local coin will name Minsk coin, more or less, not PTC, it will Minsk coin, because the Minsk Mazowiecki town city will just test and trial this case. However, we are following you, to be honest, that you were the first, we are maybe not the second, we are the first in Europe, I still believe, But tell me, what is the perception? What is the adoption? What your residents think about it?
Yeah, I think a lot of them, everything is so connected now. So to be able to know that things are easy, and us being a technology-based city, I think our adoption is probably a higher rate than others because our residents grew up in technology, right? Being Atlanta's first technology park and being designed to be a technology kind of area, our adoption was fairly good. We have 40,000 people, as you said. Obviously, you have to take children out of that. So, our over 18 population may be, 15,000, 16,000, you would guess. And we had about 2,700 people that signed up, were earning points, spending points. So, we're looking at almost 20% adoption rate, which is really good for anything. So we're very happy with it. Our businesses, made money from people coming and redeeming points. And what it really did was it built that sense of importance of local business, but it also got people used to using this type of technology when they're spending. And that's probably a big piece of it. Once again, it's just something that we have to try and plan for what the future may look like with digital coin and all of that.
But it's amazing, I just repeating amazing. I'm as a crazy guy. However, I'm so impressed. But I think that in our case, maybe will be a little bit harder because of the adoption and understanding new technologies. However, I still believe that it will be as well great success. Luis, but go back because you mentioned a few times this Curiosity Lab. Can you a little bit extend it? Because when we just met first time, you underline as well several times that your success is just anchored around collaboration, about cooperation. Yes, can you just explain us this Curiosity Lab? Because I just met many different cases worldwide. That is extremely hard to create the innovative environment and living lab. You did it. You deliver it. How you did it, Luis?
Yeah, the first thing I'll say is it really is good leadership, right? So we have good city council members, we have good city manager, we have a lot of very smart people in the city. I think it was just a different type of approach that we took here. So what Curiosity Lab actually was it grew out of our history of being Atlanta's first technology park. So when we gained cityhood, the big question was, what makes us different than any other city, not just in our area, but potentially in the country? And the answer was technology. So we had to find a way to expand that. So what the city did was they started a nonprofit, which is now Curiosity Lab at Peachtree Corners, with the idea of not trying to develop new technology, but to build the playground or sandbox, if you will, for companies to come in and play to create that new technology. So what we created was an environment that allowed companies to come in at no cost to them and use our testing facility. One of the things we have as a city is we own streets, we own right-of-way, we own street lights, we own infrastructure. So to be able to build this on public infrastructure allows us to let people in to use it. Partners was a huge part of it. As I said, T-Mobile, without them, it wouldn't have been possible. Clearwave Fiber is our fiber backbone. It wouldn't have been possible without them. And what we did in essence was it started with autonomous vehicles. So we built this test track with the idea of inviting vehicle manufacturers to come in and test autonomous vehicles. Little did we know that was going to turn into something even bigger because of what those autonomous vehicles used to operate. So now it's turned into cameras with object recognition. It's turned into using LiDAR to be able to view in 3D and color what the surrounding areas are. To where we are now, we have over 155 companies that have come through the lab. Some of those startups, some of them extremely established. UPS is based in the lab. As I said, T-Mobile is based in the lab. We have great relationships with Bosch, who does a lot of the camera technology. And now we're kind of getting into everything from AI to drones to, you name it, it's come through. The key is we don't make money on people coming to the lab. Our plan is an economic development plan. So we offer this environment and people come in and use it, whether it's startups, large companies, whatever. And the plan is that once they've developed or if they have a new product or they look to expand, hopefully they move those companies to Peachtree Corners. Which in turn gives us, the ability to have our residents have jobs and higher quality of life.
I will go back in the moment to the Curiosity. However, we got a question. We got a question from Tomek. Tomasz asked us, is PTC points approved by the taxation authorities? Is approved or not? It is just second stream.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, as a city, we have our own taxing ability. So what we have been able to do was through our city council, they approved that when somebody spent money at these businesses and where we were, you earned points as a percentage. So if you shopped at a restaurant and you spent $100, the percentage we gave back was 15%. So they would get 15 of these PTC points. And then what we did was we partnered with these other specific small businesses that wanted to be part of the program for them to accept them. So it really is more the business relationship than it is the taxing authority, because the businesses will report that as income either way. So the taxes get handled on the back end through the businesses, not as much through the city.
That's, because that as well, because I had the question, exactly the same question to you, because it is just this, maybe not an issue. However, this challenge is just before of us, because in the moment as well, we more or less implement the same model. Thank you very much, Luis, for the answer. However, let's go to the curiosity lab. But tell me, because I understood that this golden mean is leadership, because I met many cases that, even cities, they just gave the infrastructure to test. However, nobody wanted to test. Yeah. They always had a problem. Okay, how are we going to test it? What about the IPR of our ideas? Maybe if we're going to do it first, somebody going to copy it, how you overcome these pitfalls, around that? It is the transparency or any different, approach?
Yeah, I mean, obviously transparency is a big part of it. Having strong leadership, but also having strong partners. It really is about what our partners do to this environment. So we don't spend as a city a lot of money. So there's not a lot of tax dollar going into this environment on an annual basis from the city. It really is working with our partners, and those partners then bring in other companies. They are our mouthpiece, if you will. And I think the difference is we very rarely say no. We want people to come and use this environment. We try and find ways to make that possible. I mean, a very good example is we have a company here now that's based out of Austin, Texas, that's doing underground robotics. And Austin basically told them, no, we're not going to let you do anything to our streets. You're not going to dig in our right of way. They contacted us and we said, absolutely. Like, what do you need to dig up? Like, how can we help you with this? And then it also, with your local other entities, things like our light and power companies. We have very good relationships with our light and power companies. And anytime we do a testing that involves them, they're happy to be part of it as well, because what we're doing is the first. So they get to be part of that first. But without strong partners, you're not going to be able to do it. And we have visionary leaders, which is the other piece.
Because everything sounds perfect. Do you have any challenges? What is your biggest challenge or biggest challenges, just upfront?
Yeah, I mean, some of it is funding. You do have to find a way to fund it. As a smaller city, we obviously cannot afford to fund every single piece of it. So challenges are those partners. The changing landscape is a huge challenge, right? So as we get going on something like autonomous vehicles, so to say, which is where we started and kind of cut our teeth, that now is not the biggest thing on the landscape, right? Now you're looking at artificial intelligence. You're looking at drone technology a whole lot more. So that being able to adapt is a huge challenge. And then when you're dealing with startups and those types of things, it's their funding, right? So they are getting funding from investors or grants or things like that. So it's a challenge. I think a lot of it is the challenge of keeping on the front end, like the cutting edge. We have to be available, and we have to be able to give companies that want to come here and test. We have to make sure our infrastructure is up to what it needs to be for them to be able to test on the cutting edge. If you don't keep that up, you fall behind very quickly.
Unfortunately, our chat brings us to the end. However, it's one of my last questions. However, because because you are cooperating with so many different entities, especially in the startup zone.
Yep.
Tell me, there are any issues problems? Because when your home is so open, probably potential problem or risk could happen. How you are managing? Because it's my direct experience. If I opened my environment, my infrastructure, potential risk could happen. What about your case? Or how about your case?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we have a public works department, road, bridges, does all that. So having a strong infrastructure team to manage that infrastructure mitigates some of that. One of the biggest things, obviously, is cybersecurity, right? So when you're talking about IT companies and companies coming in that are doing things on a network that could pose problems, once again, it's partners. We have very good cyber partners. We make sure that when we bring different companies in, or countries for that matter, in, that we have to make sure that they pair well with the ones that are already here, right? We don't want to have conflicting technology testing at the same time. That can always cause an issue. We have been lucky that we have very strong partnerships with other countries as well. So they bring some of their, startups here to launch them in North America. So being able to make sure that what we have going on matches with each other and there's no conflicts. And then the protection of the cyber itself, making sure that our networks are stable. This is not a long enough call or talk to go through all of the things we've had to go through specifically with cyber, with federal government processes of being able to get approvals to do different things. It took a long time to get here. There are definitely things that went wrong, but I think we're able to adapt very well, and you have to do that planning on the front end. We very rarely say no, but when we do say no, it's because there's going to be a conflict. So we have to move to, it's not really a no, it's just a not right now, right? So management is huge.
Do you have any KPIs of the success? How you are measuring it? Because I think that the mayor of the bureau of the mayor just checking the KPIs, yes? How you are measuring the success in your case?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a chief technology officer who's also one of our city managers. We also have a lot of partners, as I said. So our cyber partners here do a lot of that management. And obviously, T-Mobile, they keep a lot. This is running on their network, right? This is a 5G. Everything's being done on 5G. So a lot of that management falls to them. So they monitor everything that's coming into the network. Like I said, we have so much stuff hooked into our system, from fire alarms to water, fire hydrants. I'm not sure what you call them there, for the fire to come out and put fires to, what phones or autonomous vehicles are on it. So there's constantly eyes on the data. There is constantly attacks on the data purposely from our side. I mean, we have a cyber partner that their job is to do nothing but try and hack us and infiltrate, our network. So as long as we continue to get, we have another one that tries to keep them out. So being mindful of that, but the partners do a lot of really good monitoring. So having T-Mobile is huge. Having the people who run the network doing a lot of that certainly helps.
But there is, I think, always this kind of, golden means is to have the strong partner with the strong as well resources to support. Because in general, how many people from the city, side work on this project, on this concept in total?
It's funny because we all do a lot of double duty, right? So the lab as a whole, Curiosity Lab, has one employee that works in the lab as a building manager. Then we have a lot of city employees. I would say there's probably 9 or 10 of us that split some kind of time between them. So our chief technology officer is also one of our assistant city managers, right? I'm the director of communications for the city, but I'm also the chief communications officer for the lab. The city's attorney is also the lead attorney for the lab. So that's kind of the beauty of it being, owned by the city, but then being a separate nonprofit is we can do double duty, and we know what's good for the lab is good for the city, and vice versa. So I would say there's probably about 10 of us, but probably 2 that are kind of full time.
It's amazing. But tell me, my last question, I promise. Tell me, Luis, because for many that is maybe not so interested in the technology side, however, this figure will just show the scale. What is the budget of Peachtree Corners in a total budget of the city? Let's call it like that.
Yeah, our total budget is probably somewhere around $26 million.
$26 million, yes?
A year, yeah. And we only spend about $750,000 on Curiosity Lab.
As well, not a lot, because when we discussed as well, the first time we met just after the sending the invitation to you, you mentioned as well that a lot of people are visiting the Peachtree Corners. Yes, people are just curious what you are doing there. Did you measure it? How many people visited, your city, your town? How, what is their impression?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, we have obviously people come here for some of just the regular things that we do as a city. But we have leaders from around the world. We have ambassadors that tour Curiosity Lab. We have consul general offices that come in. We have CEOs and CFOs and CTOs of companies that come in from all over the world. We had a princess here not that long ago. The Princess of Belgium was here as part of a trade mission and came and toured. Technology is a big thing here. People come to see it. We continue to expand our autonomous vehicle track. So as that happens, more people will experience that and be able to ride on, actually ride autonomous vehicles to get from one part of the city to the other. Tech tourism is something that's kind of new. But it allows us to do things here that are fun. Right. The key is to have a vibrant city, that turns into a vibrant state, a vibrant country, and a vibrant world. And we're happy just to be part of it. Like I said, we don't do anything great here. We just offer up the environment for other people to come and do great things.
What I can say, Luis, that you did a really great job. I have this kind of comparison with others, with many other cities. That's why it really impressed me, because what impressed me, the scale, as well the approach, because you are mentioning, very often that you are not doing any special. You are just sharing the infrastructure. However, even sharing infrastructure for many is big challenge. Because it's not only we are sharing, it is as well the kind of, you as well should introduce more or less this kind of openness, be agree with your residents, you as well should keep some rules around the cooperation. As well the case with the blockchain, the application, with PTC as well, that a lot of things, showed that it is not the coincidence you are the leader around the technology smart city world in US. So, Luis, thank you very much. I wish you all the best, and I believe that we're gonna meet. And it's my dream as well, just to record one of episode Miasto, exactly directly from the center of Peachtree Corners. Luis, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sebastian. I appreciate it. I welcome everybody to check out the Curiosity Lab website, learn more about us. And we're always happy to have these conversations because in the end, we're all in this together.
I put those links as well, just below of our chat. I just put the link to the Curiosity Lab as well to the Peachtree Corners, town, city, just to see what you are doing. Luis, thank you very much. And so, see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. And finally, I will just run my jingle and the end of our story. So now I will switch for a moment to Polish. Dziękuję Wam bardzo. Mam nadzieję, że ta rozmowa była dla Was tak samo inspirująca jak dla mnie. mnóstwo fajnych przykładów, zarówno w domenie żyjącego labu, jak i otwartości, odwadze budowy środowiska miejskiego, które ma w sobie dużo zaawansowanych technologii, jak 5G, samochody autonomiczne, współpraca z aplikacjami blockchainowymi, lokalne waluty. To wszystko znajdziecie tam w Peachtree Corners w US. Dzisiaj naszym gościem był Svehla, Communication Director, i tak samo jak osoba, która reprezentuje po stronie komunikacji Curiosity Lab. Ja was serdecznie żegnam. Louis, thank you very much. It was in Polish. And now our jingle and the end. Bye bye.